Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. I am Pastor Guy, and this is Pastor's Corner. For those of you who are new to the corner, I'm Guy Watley, and welcome to my corner of the internet. It's a place where we get together once a week to encourage the believer on how to be in the world, but not of the world. If you like what you hear, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We live stream our Sunday morning services at 10:30 Pacific time, and we welcome you to tune in then as well. YouTube keeps us up indefinitely. Facebook, it goes away after about 30 days, but we'd love to have you and welcome. We're glad you're here. Um, so this past week, uh, we we had a memorial service, a celebration of life. I don't know what the current terminology is. We gathered to remember and to rejoice in the life of a gal who went to our church. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit and kind of about the church and the purpose of the church. And so that's what I'm going to do. It kept coming back up. I kept thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. So, the church, God gave us the church for many reasons. And I think this past Saturday was a highlight of one of those reasons. And, we can go throughout biblical history and see when people passed away. And granted, because we're talking about scripture and following the leadership of Israel, we don't get the ins and outs of everyday life of the average Hebrew or Jew as time goes on, and they were called. But the mourning period when someone would pass, uh, 30 days was common. And there would be various rituals, celebrations, feasts, however you want to look at it, things that would go on in those 30 days as they mourned the passing of their loved one. And even in Jesus's time, they when Lazarus died, he died. God raised him from the dead. The people the people that knew him and that knew the family were in process of mourning, and this was 4 days later or whatever, and so we know that that's common, but I think what we miss as a church is it's an opportunity to rejoice in the hope that Jesus Christ has brought to us. And I say we miss it as an opportunity because people don't go to memorial services and funerals. Um, and when I say people, I mean churches and believers. Some do. There are those that go, but there are those that just don't. And I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not going to pretend to know the reasons. Some, they all might be good reasons. You know, the memory of family and friends who have gone on before, and maybe some that didn't know the Lord, and it's stressful and trying, and so they kind of want to just not go there. And I get that. I mean I do, but that doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that we're not failing. And I think probably failing from the pulpits as well. Now this past Saturday, I believe that the those that attend our church outnumbered the family that was able to make it. She didn't have any family around here except her husband and brother-in-law. And most family traveled. And a couple sons came from like Michigan, I think. So there was that. But I was pleasantly surprised and pleased at the turnout. It always could have been better. There could have been more that came that, for whatever reason, chose not to. Didn't know her that well, or whatever we run through our mind as reasons not to go. And trust me, that's why we don't go. We come up with reasons not to, not reasons to. And so we're looking for ways out. And what we're missing as a church is the opportunity. What does the Bible say about death? What does God say about death? Do we know what God says about death? Right? It pleases him when his saints come home. It brings him joy when his saints come home. See, that's why we call it a home going. Because we are aliens here, right? That's what we say. Do we believe it, or do we just say it? That we are aliens here, we are foreigners, we are sojourners. And when Christians die, they are in the presence, as I mentioned, that she beheld her Lord face to face the moment she passed from this earth. That's a celebration. That is a reason to celebrate with joy and gladness. And that the sufferings, and when you're elderly, there are sufferings on this world. There are pain and sorrow that you go through, and some more than others, and some suffer greatly at the end. And so going home, being released from this tent, this body that we're in, to ever be with the Lord is a time for celebration. And as a Christian, if you believe those things, how could you not celebrate that? Why would you not want to celebrate that, I guess, would be my question. And just help me. I'm trying to understand myself. It is a true rejoicing period. Yes, there's mourning. We mourn because we will never see them again in this world. In this world. I remember, I will never forget this until the day I die. I went to a wedding. Don't go to a lot. That's another story and my bad. But plus I don't have an opportunity to go to a lot. But I went to a wedding up in East Glacier of my cousin's kid, my cousin's daughter, one of her daughters. And I hadn't seen this cousin in decades because she lived in Peru. And so we got there. We had no kids. It was Sarah and myself. And the door opened she was like in a motorhome or something. And she came out and she looked at me and she said, "Guy, I would have never recognized you on this world if I didn't know it was you." And that's just stuck with me. On this world. She's a believer, a true believer. And she knows in heaven, instinctively, and it's just part of her soul, that we're going to recognize and know everybody. But on this world, she was like, "I would have never recognized you on this world." And I don't know why. I'm Guy. I look like I've always looked, right? But I hadn't seen her in probably 30 years or more. I remember she came up to Tacoma with her husband, who's Peruvian, and didn't speak a lick of English, and he still doesn't. But yeah, it'd been a long, long time, maybe even 40 years since I'd seen her. But anyway, that was just natural to flow out of her. That she wouldn't have recognized me on this world. Meaning that we're not home. We're sojourners. Heaven is our home. And when we get to heaven, we will recognize everybody. So back to funerals and memorial services. I just want to implore people who are believers, and especially if someone in your church community passes away, that you go, that you attend, that you fellowship, that you rejoice, that you support the family as we mourn on this side of heaven, but that you acknowledge that she's where you want to be or he is where you want to be, and you rejoice with that because they have finished the race. They have fought the fight. And what awaits them is a crown of life. And that is worth celebrating. And it is worth acknowledging. And we should be screaming to the heathen, pagan world in which we live that there is a finish line and it is worth celebrating and rejoicing in. And so we gather as believers around the grave or at a service to acknowledge the hope that is within us, if that truly is your hope. I'm Pastor Guy, and this has been Pastor's Corner. I hope it was maybe a wake-up call. Just, we can always adjust and change. Anyway, you have a wonderful day in the Lord, and I will see you next week. Take care.